All right, NFL predictions for 2016 NFL season, baby. Woohoo! As I said before, no more preseason. This is it. And here are my predictions for the AFC. I already told you what was going to happen in NFC. That's right. I said that the Carolina Panthers, the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, and the surprising Detroit Lions would be division winners. In the AFC, I have more surprises. That's right. Let's start with the AFC East, where I have the New York Jets as division winners. You heard me. I'm going to say that without stuttering. The New York Jets will win the division. Head coach Todd Bowles' second year. Their defense is the key. The Jets last year had one of the NFL's best 15 defenses. Their offense will improve just enough to keep up with what will be an even better defense of championship caliber, and they will ride into the playoffs as division winners. That's right. Because look, the Patriots have their issues with Tom Brady. I am not at all convinced that Jimmy Garoppolo is the answer, even to the point where I probably have mispronounced his last name. Apologies, but you get my point. The better he is, the better I'll say his name. But I'm not seeing that in my crystal ball as happening at all. Brady is a unique marriage of person and scheme and head coach and Bill Belichick. Can't see it happening. He's out for 4 games. We know why. But I digress. The New England Patriots, having said all that, will emerge as the wild card participant from this division. That's right. This division is going to be tough once again. Followed by the Buffalo Bills. And for a time, I flirted with the idea of flipping the Bills and the Patriots, but the Bills always seem to find that way of tripping themselves under Rex Ryan as coach. Maybe this is the year that doesn't happen. Perhaps I should put an asterisk there under the Bills. We'll see. Followed by the Miami Dolphins. It's Adam Gase's first year as coach. I love what he's trying to do with space in the Dolphins' offense. However, I'm not convinced that the defense against the pass will be effective. Against the run, I think it will be. But you know what? Let's come back mid-season. I have no problem saying I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, about the Miami Dolphins. I'm cool with that. Because that defense is a wild card. Once again, I like what Adam Gase, the new head coach, does with space on offense. But will it be enough to overcome the defensive secondary? I'm not sure about that. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Let's turn to the AFC North, And I hesitated that way because of what I'm about to tell you. I had this in my head. I was so excited to get it out. I stumbled my words a little bit. The division winner of the AFC North will be the Cleveland Browns. That's right. The Cleveland Browns. I'll say it a third time. The Cleveland Browns. Why? It's not just because of my love for the coaching acumen that Hugh Jackson brings. No. It's not because I think that RG3 is going to be the comeback player of the year. I do. It's not because of Terrell Pryor and his magnificent transition from quarterback to wide receiver. No, I could go on and on and on. It's because they're essentially a brand new team. And I say this, I've said it again, and I repeat it. Teams that have new schemes and new coaches come into the league without a book. You want an example of what I'm talking about? Look at Dan Quinn with the Atlanta Falcons last year. Blazed through the league, first 5 games, undefeated. People are already pinning them in for the Super Bowl. Then they collapsed. Why? Because that scheme that they had that no one had a book on, combined with the talent and the brilliant use of that talent at the right time, propelled them to the top. But then as the book formed, when I say book, I mean the book of tendencies, statistics, and then answers to what they were doing formed, because they weren't doing anything that was unusual at all. Once that was in place, boop, put on the brakes. Why? Because the Falcons never adjusted. The Falcons never adjusted. That won't happen under Hugh Jackson and the Cleveland Browns. They will adjust. The Cleveland Browns will be the surprise team of the National Football League. You heard it here first. Watch. Now, they'll be followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know a lot of people picking them for the Super Bowl. I'm not. Mainly, again, it has to do with the book that people have on them with respect to their offense, schemes, and timing. Additionally, while they have great performers, and Antonio Brown is a fantastic wide receiver, no question about it, they have not established that mix of run and pass that makes them as hard to stop as they need to be to win the division over the Browns. I'm not sold on the Steelers. However, I leave a caveat that it could be wrong. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals under head coach Marvin Lewis. And see, Coach Lewis has a problem, and that Hugh Jackson is in the same division, and Hugh Jackson knows him. And so it will be Hugh Jackson's Cleveland Browns that upstage Marvin Lewis' Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals fall to this position. Now, on the other hand, one could say the Bengals have a boatload of talent, excellent defense, and a stability in head coach, okay? So this is where I place my asterisk at the Bengals. Let's revisit this, because I have no problem saying I'm wrong if I'm wrong about the Cincinnati Bengals. Keep that in mind. Then we have the Baltimore Ravens. Some people are picking them at 11-5. A lot of people are really excited about the signing of Justin Forsett as running back. I am as well. But again, this is a case of a team that has a scheme in place and a defense in place, a defensive scheme that everyone has a book on and knows how to attack. When you have that in place and you don't have a ton of monsters in terms of talent on either side of the ball, and you're facing a reconstructed and new Browns team, then you've got the Steelers, and as well as the Bengals, this is where you fall. This is what will happen. And I don't feel like I'm going to be entirely wrong there. If I am, Melissa Rubin will let me know. She'll be the first to let me know. She's a huge Ravens fan. She's Miss Ravens fan. Okay, moving along to the AFC South, where I'm predicting that the acquisition and free agency of Brock Osweiler from the Denver Broncos to the Houston Texans will pay big dividends for the Texans. They will not only return to the playoffs, they will be the division winner this time. That's right, the division winner. Over the Indianapolis Colts, where I'm not predicting a wild card for the Colts at all. Then the Jacksonville Jaguars surprisingly improved over the Tennessee Titans. Yes, you would say, why am I picking the Titans at the bottom? This could change, and I say that because the Titans have a restructured and redesigned running game and scheme that I think is quite interesting. They call it exotic smash mouth ball. We saw some of that in the first half against the Raiders in preseason, and it was gashingly effective. It's the defense I'm not certain about, and its new scheme. I liked the defensive system they had when Ray Horton was there with Dick LeBeau, but I'm not convinced that they can get it done this time at all. Now you're saying, hey, look, they gave up a lot of yards. It wasn't the defense's problem. It was the offense and its awful growing pains with Marcus Mariota at quarterback. That was the issue. Not so much the defense. But the defense wasn't good enough to dig them out of a hole last year. It wasn't championship caliber. I don't see where it's championship caliber this year. This is where they fall. And now we come to the AFC West. And I am picking, drumroll please, the Kansas City Chiefs as the division winners. Why the Chiefs? Because the Chiefs have a wonderful offensive scheme drawn up and installed primarily by Andy Reid that is a beautiful mix of spacing in terms of formation, movement in terms of scheme concepts that he borrowed from Chip Kelly and intelligently installed in the Chiefs' offense, and also quarterback movement. The Chiefs' offense is effective and beautiful to watch, as designed by Andy Reid and ran by Alex Smith. It got them in the playoffs last year. They were quite effective against the Texans, if you remember. But for some reason, no one wants to pick them, even though their defense is strong. I'm picking them. I'm picking them as winning the division. The Raiders will be the wild card. Now, you would say, why am I not picking the Raiders as division winner? It's that run defense problem. The Raiders' run defense, combined with this annoying tendency, or lack thereof, of the Raiders to adjust their offense from week to week to be at a consistently high level of effectiveness. Take last year. They went bombs out against the Jets, and then they were silent the next week. You know, they're streaky that way, and it's not, oh, I woke up as a player like quarterback Derek Carr or wide receiver or any of the wide receivers, be it Crabtree or Amari Cooper. No, it wasn't that. It's how the Raiders don't adjust well to defensive schemes in the second half. The first half, beautiful team to watch. Second half, not so much. Because the opponent's defense makes the proper adjustments, and about 50% of the time, they're successful at stopping the Raiders. It shouldn't be that way. You should have a scheme that adjusts to what the defense does and continues to find ways to get the ball down the field and score. As Hank Stram, when he was coach of the Chiefs, used to say, keep matriculating that ball down the field, boys. The Raiders don't do that well all the time, okay? That concerns me. That's the issue. And along with that problem with the run defense, where they were getting gashed for some very basic technical reasons that bother me around the issue of not gap control. It's not holding or two-gapping, which I hate. But the Raiders scheme asks players to do that, as opposed to shooting the gap and going after the running back and having the linebackers basically hold a position on one shoulder and read and react to where the running back is going. That's not what the Raiders are doing. So I have a serious problem with the Raiders and how they coach their run defense. And until that's cleared up, and I'll say I'm happy to be wrong about the Raiders, but I'm 1,000% certain I'm right. That's going to be a problem all season long. It really is. Until they make a decision to change. Okay? Now, the Denver Broncos fourth, new quarterback, offensive coordinator was okay, Super Bowl malaise. They lost a number of key players. I can't see them performing well. And I'm not going to be wrong here. At the bottom, the San Diego Chargers, because the Chargers have not significantly improved themselves. And they need defensive speed, and they don't have it. And they get blown off the ball too easily. So, there we have it. Now, in the next video, I'll talk about the AFC and AFC champion and the Super Bowl champion. Stay tuned.